Hi there, welcome to Floating in Books. Today I'm giving you a tour of my fridge and my pantry. Welcome to everybody watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me. In a recent video, I showed you my food shopping, sort of how I like to go about it. And I talked you through how I food shop, and then someone said, hey, I would love to see your fridge and pantry, and it's really nothing exciting. Really, it isn't. It's actually quite messy, but I know where everything is, so I thought I could take you through, and I've done a little bit of a tour, and I've actually filmed it for you. It's quite short and sweet though, so I'm gonna have a bit of a preamble first, and then a roundup to the video as well. But yeah, I just thought I could quickly show you this for sure. So yes, the thing you should know as well, that my kitchen was remodeled last year, so make sure to link you to that video down below. I think I did it over on my other channel, so you can see what the situation used to be and what the situation is now, and sort of like what the choices were to be redoing this kitchen. When I redid this kitchen, it was very important for me that I had enough storage for food, because in the old situation, I actually have, like, right next to my kitchen, there is like a little bit of a utility area, and one of the shelves in there I used to use for food storage, which, I mean, it was fine. It was like a dry, dark place, so it was really okay. And I had an extra fridge in there and another freezer. It was the only freezer I had at the time. But it was very cumbersome, because whenever I was cooking, I would always have to go into this little room to try and find everything for me to be cooking. So it was a bit of a, it just wasn't as helpful, and it wasn't like a full-on pantry or anything, because I was storing like my cushions for like outside in there, and like tools and paint, and so it wasn't like dedicated to food. And I just really wanted to make sure that when I redid this kitchen that I could maximize some space and get some actual decent pantry storage. So the pantry storage I have isn't just for food, it's also for other food related things. So things like, you know, Ziploc bags and like tea and coffee and like all of the appliances and like things that come with my oven, those are also all in the pantry. So if you're seeing some shelves that aren't dedicated to food, that may be why, because I don't necessarily need all of those shelves for food per se. And the thing I did when I remodeled my kitchen is that I relocated my fridge to have it closer to where I'm actually cooking and in a much better location, because the fridge used to be right next to the door to my balcony, and in the summertime when the door of the balcony would be open, I could no longer open my fridge. So that was very unhelpful. So now my fridge is actually in a position where it can also be always be accessed, and whenever I'm cooking, I can just open the fridge door and it can go like so. I've really sort of tried to think of where it's actually located. So I actually have a fridge freezer combo. I didn't take you into the freezer space actually, because it's just frozen food. But I wanted to have freezer space within my actual kitchen, because again, I just felt having to go into the other like area to go into my freezer was a bit cumbersome for things I want to grab quickly. Like if I'm making a smoothie and I just want to grab something real quickly, then now I have all of my frozen fruits right here in my kitchen with me. And the same thing goes for things like bread. I have that very easily accessible to me in that second freezer. It's not a very big freezer, so I don't store a lot of food in there. It's much more like things that are easy to grab, things like ice cubes and stuff. That's what's in there, because it is quite a small freezer. So if that were the only freezer I'd have, I wouldn't be very happy. And I didn't film the second freezer I have because it's absolutely packed. But that's where I store like actual food things. So I have like a drawer with things like dumplings and pizza and some like frozen things. And then the middle drawer is just all of the meals that I pre-cook and that I have stored in my freezer, so that I always have some really decent food around, as well as some like meat and fish that I keep in there. And then I just have things like potatoes and like fish fingers in like the bottom drawer. In the fridge, you'll see in a minute, it is quite tall, so I couldn't really fit it into frame very well, but there is some storage in the door, obviously, and then there is quite a bit of storage within the freezer itself. It's really nice and high. It has a rack to have bottles in, so that's where I sort of store most of my drinks. Like any sort of bottled drinks to go in there, and then things in cans go in the door. And then I just have a really nice roomy fruit and veg drawer, which is always packed to the brim. I always love taking fruit and veg with me to work, so I have a lot of like easy snack on the go veggies in there, things like cucumbers and like tomatoes and carrots, bell peppers, those kind of things are all there. And then I usually have a shelf with like things that I want to get to really easily, so they are things that are about to expire or things that I'm currently using, so like the fruits I'm currently eating, so those are all right there. And then I have a shelf sort of more so with all of the like dairy produce, so the eggs and yogurts and those kind of things are like cans that have been opened. And then a shelf just above that, I keep all of my meat and cheeses. And then I have like a shelf that used to be drinks, but it's starting to be taken over by food. But yeah, that's just where I keep like miscellaneous things that don't have anywhere else to go. So I'll roll that clip right now so you can see how it's all stored. So here's the fridge. I've just opened it up. I just have some like milk and stuff here, some drinks up here, which you can't really see, and then some like condiments up here. But this is the main section. This is my vegetable drawer, so that's where I keep all of my fresh fruit and veg. I've got some of it down here that I need to use up first. Then this is the yogurt and egg section, you could say, and like jars that have been opened I tend to put here. And then over here I've got cheese and meat. There's some more deli meat in the back here, and then some more cheese in the back here as well. And then up top I just have some drinks, which you can't really see, that's off camera. And then I have just some butter, some fresh mint to make some tea, and like some spreads for when I want to make sandwiches. So that's pretty much my fridge. And then of course I have the actual pantry space. So that was fridge and freezer, and then the pantry is actually a setup with a roll-out drawer that you can pull at the top. Now the way I had to film it, because of like there's really big windows, like you can see this, the cupboard storage right here, that's right behind me. But you can pull it out, and because of the way I had to film it with the lighting, I'm filming it from the wrong direction, so everything is put in there from the other direction, because that's how I go in there when I'm grabbing something. But yeah, I have 4 shelves. Again, this is like my most used pantry storage, where I keep things like condiments and rice and pasta, like anything I need to cook a meal is pretty much in there. And then I just have some dry storage over all the way to the right, because I have 2 like regular cupboards with like doors that you can open. And one shelf is dedicated more so to dry stock, so things in cans, like canned fish and vegetables and like some canned tomatoes, those kind of things, and like backups of things, so like an extra jar of peanut butter and those kind of things I keep there, as well as like things like wine and like liquors, and like if I have a party or having people over, that's where I tend to go as well. So that I use a little bit less, because I don't tend to go there if I want to cook a meal. And then in the other side of the pantry, so the other door, I have a shelf where I have like things that I use more so on the regular. So I have some things that I use for like breakfast and lunch foods, also some flours and like rice cakes, those kind of things, nuts. Those are all on the top shelf, and some baking related things as well. And then I have another shelf where I just have 2 bins. And in the bins, I have 1 bin with snacks, so like chocolate and cookies and crackers and crisps and those kind of things. And then on the other side, I have a bin with all of the bread that I keep around. So I have a bread bin and a snack bin, and that works really well. All of the like extra things are from IKEA. So the little white bins that you see me use for the bread and the snacks are IKEA. And then the little trays that I have as well to have a little bit more of a little bit more space on the shelves in my pantry as well are from IKEA. So those are just things you can buy there. So yeah, I'll roll the clip of how it's all stored together right now. And here is my pantry. It's a pull-out drawer where I just keep like things like spices and some like dried goods, condiments and stuff up top. I have more spices and a Lazy Susan on my like on my worktop that I keep in the kitchen. This is oils and other condiments, sugars, like honey, like sweeteners, but also things like soy sauce. That's here. I'm actually always like approaching this section from the back, but then I have like the window is right behind the camera right now, so this is the best way to show you. Then down here I have all of my starches. So I've got rice and pasta and lasagna and couscous and some flour and stuff is down there. And then the bottom shelf is for loose leaf teas and coffee. So here is the rest of the pantry. So I have like onions and stuff in here, some like rice cakes, things for breakfast is up here. This is my snack bin and this is the bread bin. So that's how I store that in a nice dry, dark place. This is perhaps a little bit dark because when I open the cupboard door, the camera lighting is blocked. But here I just keep like dry stock. So this is all of my canned goods and like canned tomatoes and stuff. Instant noodles, and then in the back I have things that are, for instance, like backups of other things that I just want to make sure I always keep around. So that's my pantry and fridge storage. So really hoped it was useful seeing me how I store things. I like to keep things in a dry, dark place as much as possible. Some things go into the fridge that maybe should go into the fridge, but if I put my tomatoes, I know tomatoes don't have to go into the fridge, but if I put them anywhere else, I forget I have them. So that's why they just go there, because that's where all the fresh produce is. So that makes it a lot easier. So yeah, I just keep everything else in a dry, dark place. I've had this kitchen for more than a year now, so I can tell you that it's been a absolute gem. I'm very happy with all the decisions I took. The fridge is actually really good at keeping everything fresh. I can keep everything in there for much longer than the expiration date, whereas in my previous kitchen, the fridge wasn't as good, and I really can tell a difference in how long I can store certain foods, especially when things have already been opened. I just feel things last a really long time, and this fridge is just doing a really good job. And then in the pantry storage, again, I haven't had any issues with things expiring. Even in the hot summer that we're having, these cupboards are fully dark and they keep everything nice and safe and things don't expire that quickly. So I am very, very chuffed with how my kitchen is laid out now and how it all comes together. So I hope it was helpful for you to be seeing how my pantry is organized. Maybe you got some ideas from it. Yeah, that's how I have been able to make the most of it. So thank you so very much for joining me. Thumbs up this video if you liked it. I will be back with another video next week. It's probably going to be something fashion related, I think, because I'm planning, like the plan is to try and film all of my outfits this week. Fingers crossed that I actually manage to do it, because this is one of those things that I think of ahead of time and then I could actually forget about it. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I hope to be able to do a weekend outfits for you very, very soon. So I hope you'd like to stay tuned for all of that goodness. See you next week, and then I hope to see you in my next video. Bye-bye.